Hi, this is Mike Neglia here, and I'm joined with my friend Pierre Petrignani. We are at the Calvary Chapel Sweden, or rather the Calvary Chapel Scandinavia Conference in Sweden. We've both been asked to come and to share from God's Word, and I thought before the session starts this morning that I would just grab Pierre and ask a few questions about his years of ministry that could be of benefit to you, the watching audience. So maybe just first, Pierre, could you introduce yourself? And so Pierre,
okay.
Who are you?
Okay, I am from France, as my accent shows quickly.
Couldn't help but
betrays,
notice.
yeah. And I have been a Christian for about 29 years. And I was raised Catholic.
Sure.
In France, I would go to church and be a good little boy. I loved the Lord, but I didn't know Him that well. And then I went to school, and they told me that this was all a bunch of old stories. It was ridiculous, and that they knew better. They were teaching us the philosophers of the 18th century, Voltaire, Rousseau, and then we would talk about Sartre and Camus, and I knew that my faith was something from the past that was not serious. So I stopped attending church and was a good pagan.
Okay.
So then I think I didn't want to have to answer to a God of what I was doing. It was nice and exciting to be free.
Okay.
This was in the 60s, and
Okay.
I just felt I could live my life without any relationship with a God that I was told didn't exist.
Yeah.
Then I went on in school, and then I met my wife in Salon, France. She's from America.
Okay.
And eventually we went back to the States.
Okay.
And she wanted me to know her part of the world. I thought I would go there for a couple of years. I ended up spending 15 years there.
Okay.
I thought being in America was something very exciting. You know, I thought I was going to become rich and famous or whatever. But then something else was in store for me. I met Jesus Christ there. Nancy came from a Catholic family of 12 children. They would go to church every morning with their dad. But her dad was a doctor. He got mad with the bishop because he was for birth control and the bishop was not.
Okay. Okay.
And so they stopped to go to church altogether, and the families followed, and my wife was as pagan as I was, except we all both had a background in some knowledge of the Bible,
Okay.
or the gospel a little bit. And then we were invited by some members of our family to a Calvary Chapel for Christmas in Seattle.
Okay.
And I was taken, the fact that I first came into a big room where people were very young, usually, and there was like rock music.
Okay. Yeah.
And to myself, I was used as a Catholic, you know, being dressed in all those expensive and different colors clothes depending on the season of the year.
Yes.
Mumbling in Latin and turning their back to the audience, and so this was a shock to me to see that. And first, my reaction is I felt like this is Hollywood. This is not a church.
Really? Okay.
But the pastor, his name is Wayne Taylor, started teaching from the Word after that rowdy music.
Okay.
And he was in the book of Luke for Christmas season, and I recognized some things I had heard when I was a kid. And suddenly there was that feeling that, of course, this is the truth. You know, that I long forgotten and neglected. But I realized I was really it was the first time I heard the Bible being preached in a sense that, in a way that made sense.
Sure.
It was
Explained, maybe.
Explained
Yeah.
and applicable to my life. It was not an old book where we read some maxims or some proverbs, but it was something that made you think, made sense, and was full of love. And so the following weekend we were left with the choice: do we go back or not to that church, because the family that had brought us to that church was gone.
Okay.
And I think we both wanted to go back, but we were a little embarrassed to admit it to one another. So we said, shall we go? Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So we went back that second Sunday and then went on for the next whatever years we were in Seattle.
Really?
Not missing a Sunday, and starting to attend midweek studies and getting more and more involved in the church, to the point where this became the most important thing in our lives.
Yeah. Could you maybe back up a bit? I'm always curious, because in our own church we have people, and I'm sure you, that visit for the first time, and you know it's their first time in that type of church at all, you know. And for myself, I always grew up kind of around that type of church. You know, I didn't care for many years, but I was familiar with it. Could you explain a bit, what was it like to go into it? And you say it felt like Hollywood. Just that first time, what helped put you at ease? Or were you not at ease at all?
It was very welcoming.
Okay.
People were very friendly, and I mentioned Hollywood because the pastor was playing music, also singing.
Okay.
Terry Clark, another Christian artist, was there that week.
Okay.
That very Sunday, and he's a very good musician, so he actually can perform music, you know, very well.
Properly.
And so I was not used to that quality of music.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then the atmosphere. People were very open and singing. They were very engaged, and during the Bible teaching, they all pulled out their Bibles. Taking notes, and they were learning from what the preacher was saying.
Yeah.
So you never did that in a Catholic school, in a Catholic church.
Yeah.
And actually, talking about being welcomed, a pastor there, he was not the main pastor, but had talked to us, introduced himself, noticing that we were new. And the following weekend, when we finally decided to go back, we were on the parking lot. He saw us from a distance and waved at us and called us by our names, Pierre and Nancy. How are you doing, guys? And we knew that these people really cared and had a sincere love. I mean, it could have been just a gimmick, but we sensed that it was. We were surprised, and to this day the man is now a pastor in Olympia, Washington. He's come to visit us in Nice, and he's one of those mentors like you have had in your life.
Yeah.
So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, this was